Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a massive showdown between three titans of workflow automation, Zapier, Make, and n8n. If you're looking to get rid of tedious manual work and seriously boost your productivity, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break it all down to help you find your perfect automation partner.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with why automation is so critical in the first place. Then we'll introduce our three big contenders. After that, it's a head-to-head battle, looking at pricing, power, and integrations, all leading up to the final verdict, helping you find your perfect match. So, first things first, let's set the stage. Before we can even compare these tools, we really have to get a handle on the huge problem that all three of them were built to solve. I mean, does this sound familiar? Your day is just a blur of copy-pasting data from one app to another, sending the same emails over and over again, or just endlessly updating spreadsheets. If that hits home, trust me, you are not alone. This is the kind of manual work that just eats up our productivity. And the solution, thankfully, is workflow automation. The best way to think about it is like building a digital bridge between all the different apps you use. It lets them talk to each other, so when something happens in one app, an action is automatically triggered in another, all of it happening in the background without you having to do a thing. And the impact here goes way beyond just saving a few minutes. Yeah, it saves a ton of time, but what's really crucial is that it practically eliminates human error. That means your work is more accurate, it's more consistent, and you can scale up what you're doing without needing to hire more people for those repetitive tasks. And the numbers on this are pretty staggering. Sources show that marketers using AI-powered automation are saving, on average, 12.5 hours every single week. Now that adds up to more than 600 hours a year, or about 26 full workdays. Seriously, just imagine what you could accomplish with a whole extra month back in your calendar.
Okay, so with that foundation in place, let's meet our three contenders. Now they all have the same goal, to automate your work, but they come at it with completely different philosophies and designs. It's actually helpful to think of them as three different characters. First, you have Zapier, the great connector. Its whole identity is built around simplicity and connecting to the most apps possible. Then there's Make, the visual architect, which tries to find that perfect balance between being powerful and easy to use with its drag-and-drop interface. And finally, you have n8n, the developer's powerhouse, which is all about giving you maximum flexibility and control, especially if you're comfortable with a little bit of code. All right, round one. Let's talk about what's often the deciding factor for a lot of people, the price. And this is where these three platforms have some of their most dramatic and honestly, most important differences. And listen, it's not just about what you pay per month. The real story here, the thing you have to pay attention to, is how each platform charges you for the work you do. This difference in their pricing models can mean a huge difference in your final bill, even for the exact same workflow. So Zapier works on a task-based model. That means every single step, every action in your automation costs you a little bit. Make is pretty similar, charging you for each operation. But then you have n8n, and this is a total game changer. They use an execution-based model. So an entire workflow, whether it has 2 steps or 20 steps, only counts as one single execution each time it runs. And you can see the huge impact of that right here. Let's take a pretty standard 5-step workflow that runs 1,000 times a month. With Zapier, that's 5,000 tasks, which could easily bump you into a more expensive plan. But with n8n, that's just 1,000 executions, which could keep you on a much, much cheaper tier. When you start doing complex stuff at high volume, this difference is absolutely massive. However, and this is a really big however, we have to look at the whole picture. n8n's incredible cost advantage often comes from its self-hosting option. But that's not exactly free. It means you need technical people on your team to manage servers, security, and all the maintenance. For a big company, these so-called hidden costs can add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, on to round 2. Now we're looking at the core experience of actually using these tools. This round is all about that classic trade-off. How easy is it to get started versus how complex and powerful are the things you can actually build?
Zapier's whole philosophy is simplicity first. Its interface is super straightforward, it's linear, it's step-by-step. Literally anyone can build their first automation in minutes. On the other side, n8n gives you this incredibly powerful node-based visual canvas. It gives developers amazing control to build really complex stuff with branching logic and custom code. But yeah, it definitely has a steeper learning curve if you're not a technical person.
And you see this sentiment echoed all over the place online. As one Reddit user put it perfectly, for most things, Zapier gives you an easier and faster way to get to the same result. The main trade-off you're making for that beautiful simplicity is, almost always, the cost.
Now, one huge advantage that comes with n8n's power is something called data sovereignty. That might sound complicated, but it just means you have complete control over your data, because with self-hosting, it never has to leave your own servers. For anyone in regulated industries like healthcare or finance, this isn't just a nice feature, it's an absolute must-have. All right, here we go, our final round. We're looking at two really crucial features. First, how well do these platforms connect to all your other apps? And second, how are they embracing the incredible power of artificial intelligence? So when it comes to the sheer number of ready-made connections, there is just no contest. Zapier is the undisputed champion. It has a massive library of over 8,000 app integrations. What that means for you is that pretty much any tool you use, no matter how niche, probably already has a connection ready to go on Zapier. But this leads to a really important question, right? Is a bigger library always better? Does the number of integrations matter more than the depth and flexibility you get with them? Because while Zapier has the most, Make and n8n often give you deeper control inside their integrations. And with n8n's ability to connect to basically any API out there, its potential is technically infinite. And when we look at AI, each platform's strategy is a perfect reflection of its personality. Zapier is all about making AI easy and accessible, letting anyone build simple agents and chatbots. Make takes a visual approach, so you can actually see, step by step, how your AI agent is thinking. And then there's n8n, which provides a toolkit for developers, with deep integrations into frameworks like LangChain for building seriously complex and custom AI systems. So after 3 rounds covering pricing, power, and integrations, what's the final verdict? Well, the truth is there isn't one single winner here. The best platform for you depends entirely on what you need. So instead of us picking one, we're going to help you find your perfect match. Here's the bottom line, the simple takeaway. Just use this chart to find your ideal fit. If your number one priority is getting started fast and having the most app connections, Zapier is your answer, hands down. If you want a great balance of visual power and solid value, you should be looking at Make. And if what you need is cost efficiency at a huge scale, deep customization, and total control over your data, then n8n is a powerhouse you're looking for. Ultimately, the best automation platform is the one your team is actually going to use. The whole goal here is to get rid of those repetitive, soul-crushing tasks that hold you back. So we'll leave you with this final thought. Once you're freed from all that manual work, what incredible new possibilities are you and your team going to create?